Speaker McCarthy would he take default off the table. He refused. President Biden said he would. Leader Jeffries said he would. Of course, I said I would. But he wouldn't take it off the table. And instead of him giving us a plan to remove default, he gave us a plan to take default hostage. And that is a shame, because that makes things more complicated. The bottom line is very simple. There are large differences between the parties. If you look at what President Biden had proposed and you look at what Speaker McCarthy has proposed, they're very, very different. We can try to come together on those in a budget and appropriations process. But to use the risk of default with all the dangers that has for the American people as a hostage and say it's my way or no way, or mostly my way or no way, is dangerous. So we again repeat our plea to Speaker McCarthy. Take default off the table and let's resume negotiations in the budget process, in the appropriations process, where we have legitimate differences. That's the good news. The president asked the people from all four of the leaders and himself to start sitting down as early as tonight, certainly tomorrow, to see where we can come to an agreement on the budget and the appropriations process. There are probably some places we can agree and some places we can compromise, hopefully, but that has to occur as part of the budget appropriations process.
Thank you, Leader Schumer, and I thank President Biden for convening us to have this conversation. Under no circumstances should the United States default on our debt. America must always pay our bills. A default would be catastrophic for everyday Americans, for small businesses, for people all across the land. House Democrats have taken default off the table. Senate Democrats have taken default off the table. Senate Republicans, as just indicated by Leader McConnell, have taken default off the table. President Biden, from the very beginning, took default off the table. There's one group in Washington, D.C., extreme MAGA Republicans, who have indicated that they are willing to take us down the path of default. That is reckless, irresponsible, and extreme. We're thankful that President Biden has asked the four corners of the Capitol, along with the administration, to get together as early as this evening, if not tomorrow, to make sure that we can have a conversation about the budget, about the appropriations process, about spending and investments and revenue. And all four parties have agreed. Now, on timeline, let me just simply say, because there's been a narrative that has emerged from some of my friends on the House Republican side, that the delay, the reason why we're at this point, is because of inaction. Nothing can be further from the truth. President Biden and Speaker McCarthy met on February 1st. In that meeting, President Biden said, default is off the table, as it has been repeatedly during Democratic administrations and Republican administrations, including 3 times when we helped President Trump raise the debt ceiling without gamesmanship, partisanship, or brinksmanship. Simultaneously, we can have a discussion about the budget. President Biden said in that meeting, the administration will produce its budget for the American people by March 9th. The budget was produced by President Biden on March 9th. At the same time, he said, we need to understand the House Republican position. Produce your budget. March 9th came and went. No Republican budget. Week after week after week, through mid-March, into late March, into early March, into mid-April, all the way through to April 26, we saw no Republican plan, no Republican budget. And then on April 26, they passed one that was extreme, that put polluters over people, that dramatically cut Medicaid for disabled children and seniors, would cut veterans' benefits as we understand it, would cut health care, would cut law enforcement, would cut a variety of things that would undermine the health, the safety, the economic well-being of the American people. That wasn't passed, the Default on America Act, until April 26. The next day, the House went out of session. They were gone and did not return until today, when President Biden reconvened us to urgently deal with this issue.